What parts of the language of this white paper stood out to you?
To me, perhaps the most striking thing was the way that they talked about one country, two systems in a Taiwanese context. This was maybe the most detailed outline of what one country, two systems for Taiwan would look like from the PRC, and kind of the most detailed language that we've seen from them before.
Especially after everything that's happened in Hong Kong over the past few years, how much credibility does the idea of one country, two systems have in Taiwan, according to the latest available survey data?
I think we've seen just, even beginning in 2020, how many political parties and politicians denounced one country, two systems because of the ongoing Hong Kong protests. And that kind of sentiment shows up in public opinion data. As of 2021, close to 90% of Taiwanese expressed negative feelings towards one country, two systems. And given the last week of military drills, I can't imagine that number is any lower. For the international audience, I think this is about trying to legitimize this claim to Taiwan. I think there's something to be said about drawing the PRC trying to draw these ties to Hong Kong by saying, "Look, this is what we did with Hong Kong." And the world was very okay with it after the handover. And we're just trying to repeat that same plan here with Taiwan.
In the Hong Kong context, we talk about one country, two systems pre-2019 and one country, two systems post-2019. In the immediate years after the handover, they were fairly hands-off, and there was still a lot of faith in the future of one country, two systems. But do you think this white paper is explicitly saying, the kind of one country, two systems that would be proffered to Taiwan will very much be the present day Hong Kong, one country, two systems, and not the early pre-handover version?
Very much so. I think this white paper is a much more drastic buildup and drastic framework for what one country, two systems in Taiwan would look like. I don't think there would be that kind of peaceful few years post implementation that we saw in Hong Kong. Even though they're trying to outline this as a similar approach to Hong Kong, they even mention in the white paper, they acknowledge the Hong Kong protests and say that they've taken measures to make one country, two systems different in response to the Hong Kong protests. So, whatever version of this we're getting is going to be likely a more repressive version, and one that takes Taiwanese autonomy and Taiwanese sovereignty even less into consideration. The idea of giving Taiwanese people some amount of limited sovereignty in the way we saw in Hong Kong seems very unlikely in whatever new scheme that they're designing.